Recording. So everybody, this is Krista Natarelli. She's incredible and I love her. And she and her team are rock stars at getting distributors. So I wanted to pick her brain on how she goes about that. So do you get your distributors? How do you get them? Like Facebook, blitzing, cold messaging?
So, mostly Facebook, a lot of cold messaging. I will be honest, I am not great at blitzing, simply because of what I do. So I work full time, and I have 3 kids, 6 and under. So, when I am running errands, it's usually like I'm running errands. Like I've got like 5 seconds to run in and run out, and I do not have time to strike up a conversation most of the time. So, and when I'm like out at restaurants during the day, usually I'm with clients, like from my day job, so I can't blitz then. So like it's.
Oh goodness. There you are. You're
sorry. My husband tried to call. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to text him and let him know that I'm on this call quick.
So I was just going to say quick. So when you guys have people that say that they're busy and they don't have time for this business, you can tell them Krista's story. She works full-time for a corporate job, has 3 little kids and a husband, and she maintains a beautiful home. So no, if Krista can do it, anybody can do it, because that's great.
Well, thank you, Angela. I appreciate your vote of confidence. I did just actually hire somebody to come in every other Friday to clean my house because I cannot keep ahead of it.
You're fine. You deserve it. That's craziness.
It is ridiculous. I just don't have the ability to clean it, and I really don't like cleaning either. So, but I love a clean house, so obviously that's a problem. And so anyway, I mean, it does stink sometimes because I work full time. You know, sometimes I'll be out at a restaurant and I'll have an amazing waitress, and I can't do anything about it because I'll be there with a client. But so I really try to blitz, like if I go to the mall with my mom and sister or something like that, then I'll try to blitz, but my mall trips are sort of few and far between. So, I really emphasize cold messaging to my team, because I think 95% of the time, people are not going to approach you about the opportunity. Like, I think you have to approach them. Sometimes it's because they're scared. Sometimes it's because they've honestly just never even considered it. Maybe they aren't watching your posts all that closely, so they don't really understand that anybody can do this. I know my sister and I went to, I mean, we're 9 years apart, so it's not like we went to high school at the same time with this girl, but a girl that graduated from our high school, she's in between us in age. She works for 2 years before we joined. We never knew that we could do it. Like, she never was very clear in her Facebook posts. Like, I feel like I'm pretty clear in mine, but she was not clear. And now I sort of want to hurt that girl because, like, I could have been 2 years further in my business if she had, like, messaged me about it or even posted clearly, like, hey, anybody can do this. Like, we had no idea. We thought she, like, worked for, like, a corporate job selling these wraps. And that's all she ever posted about was just the wraps.
Wow.
And so, so I really, like I said, strongly emphasize cold messaging, and I keep it really short and simple. I try to make it personal.
Do you like build a relationship with them outside of this before you bring in the business, or is it a straight cold message, like straight to the point about the business?
It depends. I mean, when I first started the business, I had expanded my Facebook network, but only expanded to people that I knew. So, like, I expanded it to people from high school that, for whatever reason, I just wasn't friends with on Facebook. I added them. You know, I wasn't really expanding to the point where I am now, where, I'll be honest, I have no freaking idea who half the people are on my Facebook friends list, because they're like friends of friends. Like, I will friend somebody if we've got 5 or more friends in common. And so if somebody likes my post, a lot of times I have to, like, look them up and figure out who they are. So I try to make it a point. If you are, I don't think you can do this from your phone, but if you're on your computer and you're adding new people, there's like a, if you click on your friends, there's like a recently added tab. And so I have the maximum number of people as see first. So I can see their posts first in my news feed so that I'm constantly interacting with those people. And so I change them out. So like as people either join my business or, you know, decide not to do it or whatever. Although I never really take no as a no forever. I sort of take that as a no right now. But I want to make sure that I'm interacting with those people. And so I try to, like I said, see their posts first. I try to go into that tab because Facebook limits the number of people that you can see their posts first. So I'm at my limit. And so I added, I'm a part of, I think 3 different moms groups on Facebook. And there's probably good, like, 1,000 people between all of those Facebook groups, and I have been adding the limit every night. I keep getting blocked out after a certain amount of ads, but I've been adding people from those Facebook groups like crazy over the last couple of weeks because I felt like my warm market it's not drying up, but it just wasn't producing as quickly as I liked. So I needed to get some new people seeing my feed and seeing what I do. So
I think it's smart. I've done that in the past. Like I'm on like the twin mommy groups, and I've added people that I've had conversations with in those groups, and then I'll get the message like, "Do we know each other? Why are you sending me a friend request?" And I'm like, "Oh, I just really liked chatting with you on this group," and it's an odd thing. So do you get those messages when you send people a friends request?
So I don't even like. I mean, like, I interact with them sort of after I friend request them. I don't actually interact with them first. So I just friend request them. And I probably friend requested another 100 people last night. And out of those 100 people, I would say like a good 20 of them just blindly accepted my friend request. And I would say probably, I'm trying to think of how, I actually only got one message. Do I know you? And I just said, oh, did I friend request you? Oops, you know, it looks like we're in a few mommy groups together, you know, and
awesome.
She accepted my friend request. So like, I make it really like nonchalant and like not a big deal. And I sort of blame like that because Facebook, like suggests friends for you based on like mutual friends and based on groups and stuff. And so I'm like, oh, Facebook must have suggested you as a friend because we're in those groups together, you know? Because I mean, you could see that we were she was in like every mommy group that I was in. So we were in like a couple of buy, sell, trade sites together because I am trying to clear out my garbage and crap. And so we're on a couple of those together and then like several of the mommy groups. So I would just blame it on that.
I love that. And I love the see first. I almost like that better than like a friends list because friends list still goes by the algorithm of like who you're interacting with still pop up first. Like Kelly and I talked about this last night, and Kelly had a great idea of actually making a like reverse friends list. Kelly, I hope you don't mind that I'm sharing this. She was going to put on there like sideline people, It Works distributors that she doesn't really know that she's friends with. She's going to put them on a certain list and then actually unfollow them. So she can still go on their friends on that list and interact with them if she wants to or like check what they're doing, but their stuff wouldn't come up because she's not following them. Okay. I thought that was kind of a smart thing to do.
That makes sense because I get a lot of friend requests from It Works distributors and they're not my It Works distributors.
Right.
So obviously I like interacting with new people, so that's fine, but they're obviously not prospects either. And so I was just thinking through this morning because I see a lot of fellow It Works distributor stuff. And it's great because on one hand, it's like, okay, I don't want to not see their stuff because I like supporting them and liking everything that they're doing and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, being one team, one mission. But at the same time, if they're taking up space in my news feed where prospects should be, then that's not super productive either. So,
right.
Yeah, there's sort of a balance there, I guess.
Yeah. So you've been adding the people on Facebook. So you put them all on your see first list, or you're trying to like fill that up as much as you can. And then do you immediately start just interacting and sending them a cold message, or how does that look?
No. So I actually won't cold message these people for a while. So I sort of let them see my posts for probably, I mean, honestly, I probably won't interact with these people that I added last night. I won't even reach out to them until at least next month, if not longer.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to ever get blocked out of one of those groups because I'm in those groups for a reason. Like, I'm in those groups because they're relevant to my life. So I don't want to ever get blocked out of them. And so I'm not as active, and that's sort of on my list of things to do. I'm not as active on those groups as I probably should be.
Sure.
So that's something that I'm working on. But again, I'm really not wanting to get kicked out of those groups. And so I am not going to interact with those people in terms of cold messaging them for a while.
And what does your cold message look like? Like, what is it? You don't have to give us your exact script, your secret script, but what is it?
It's not a secret script, honestly. There's no magic behind it. I really just say, hey, so-and-so, love your pics of, I mean, I sort of Facebook stalk them a little bit before I message them. So I'll look at, like, you know, if they've got cute kids or they went on a recent vacation or they have a cute pet or whatever is personal to them. Love your pics of your kids. They're super cute. And then if you're new in the business, I would use a slightly different line than what I use. When I was new, I would be like, I don't know if you've seen, you know, pictures of or my posts about my new business, but I'm super excited and thought of you, you know, and you can use the, like, my upline challenge me to think of my dream team type thing. I used that a lot when I was getting started.
Sure.
Now I really just say, I probably should just do that, but I just say, you know, I thought of you because of, and I will personalize it to them. So I always tell my team, like, be really genuine with this. Like, don't tell a negative person that they're super upbeat and positive, because they will totally see through that. You probably don't want to be, you know, messaging really negative people about the business anyway, but, you know, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, people know themselves. So, like, tell them if they're really social media savvy, tell them that. If they're really, you know, motivational, or if I'm just whatever, like, draws you to them and makes you think that they're going to be good at the business, tell them that, because people like to be complimented, especially when it's sincere. And so I always try to, you know, pay them a compliment in some way and tell them why I'm reaching out to them. And then I always end with a question. I say, you know, do you keep your income options open, or have you ever thought about making some extra money from your phone? Or I'm trying to think of what's another one that I use. Would you have time to chat for a few minutes about the opportunity? Like, I don't use one question, but I do always end with a question.
So I know what Nick Sandquist's go-to lines is, do you keep your options open when it comes to making money? And I think that's a pretty, like, clever, generic sort of line to use, that it doesn't, like, well, of course I keep my options open. Like, who doesn't want to make more money sort of response from people. So I thought that was kind of clever.
Yeah, I've also said, are you open to making extra money? Because who's going to say, no, I'm not open to making extra money? Like,
and it's different than interested, because interested, I think, implies, like, effort a little bit. Like, everyone's open to making more money. Maybe they're not interested in the effort of making more money, but they're interested in making more money.
Right.
Do you then try and get them on the phone, like, ASAP if they say they're interested, or do a Zoom?
Yeah, I try. I mean, I really don't know that Facebook messaging back and forth endlessly is all that effective. And so I really try to get them in. I mean, if they're local, I'll actually try to meet with them if I can. My schedule's pretty crazy, but if I can grab them, like, over my lunch hour or something like that, I'll do that. Because I think face-to-face is the best. But, I mean, that's the beauty of Zoom and FaceTime and, you know, all that stuff, is being able to essentially talk to people through, you know, and still be able to see their faces and expression, and they can see my excitement and passion and all that kind of stuff. You know, that makes a difference, because it's hard to do that via text or via Facebook message. It's hard to have that inflection, obviously.
Right. So what do you do when you get ignored? You're sending them a cold message. They say that they're interested or they respond in a good way. And then you send like, awesome, let's, whatever you say. And then they ignore you. Like, how long do you follow up before you just kind of like throw them on the back burner?
It sort of depends on if it was my first conversation, they were like, yeah, I'm open to making extra money. And then I say, great, when would be a great time to chat, or when would be a good time to chat? And then it's like crickets. I might let it go for like a day or two and then be like, hey, just wanted to set up a time to talk. I'm free on this day or this day. Which one works better for you? I find like giving people a choice versus saying, does this work for you? Because it's so easy to say no then. So it's like, oh, I've got Thursday at 8 open or Saturday at 2:00 when my kids are napping. Like, which one works better for you? But there's some of my potentials that I've been working on for like a year.
Right.
I just don't. And there's some people that have told me no, and they're still on my PDT list. Because I just think like this opportunity, it's not for everybody, but I just think like there's so many people that can benefit from it that, again, I really just don't take no for an answer. Like I'm not super, if they've like been like, no, really just sorry, not interested, I'll put them on like a pretty major back burner and I'll follow up like every couple of months.
Yeah.
If they like, I've got one that actually approached me about it and then was like, oh, never mind, I'm just too busy or whatever. Well, she's on my like more persistent follow-up list because she was interested enough to reach out to me. So like every situation is different, but like I said, I keep everybody on my list and I tell my distributors, I tell my team, like, you need to have a big list. Like when people are like, oh, I've got a potential, it's like, that's not your only one, right? Like you can't have your entire business revolve around one or two people. You need to have like a list of potentials. Like I've got a list of 50 potentials going at any given time because you just need to, because law of numbers, there, most of them will not join you and they will not join you on your schedule either. If you need them because you're trying to go for a promotion in June, they'll probably wait till November. So like you need to have somebody as a backup. Then you need to be working on a large pipeline of people so that your business is constantly growing.
No, I think that's great. One of the things that I have struggled with in the past is I get someone excited, like someone's interested in doing it, and then I like word vomit like way too much information. And I heard a really good thing at It Works You for those of you who were there with me, and they said like at parties, what somebody recommended doing is like they'll answer two questions about the business, and then you can tell that they're already interested because they're asking you a question about it, and you say, you know what? Why don't we just get you signed up today and your training can start right away? So how much information do you give them in a meeting before you're like, seriously, like just sign up? Are there like go-to things that you tell them, or do you let them lead, obviously, but.
Right. Yeah. I guess it depends on the conversation and how like excited they are. And honestly, there's been some potential distributors that I've actually not gone after because I've had that conversation with them and been like, ugh. Like, I just don't think this is going to work, So it depends on the conversation. But, I have been pretty blunt with some of my potentials. There's one that, if she ever joins, I think she'll be a rock star. But she literally, I've been talking to her for, it's got to be 9 months now. Because I feel like she's pregnant and due in like 7 weeks, and I feel like she was not even pregnant when we first started talking. So like it's been a long potential, and I've been pretty blunt with her, being like, you can do this, what are you waiting for? But she's also someone that I knew from high school, so like again, I feel like I'm not giving you any cut and dry answers, but every situation is different because some of my potentials I don't know. Like I actually recruited somebody that we've got a few mutual Facebook friends, but she was somebody that I added just like sort of randomly, and she's on my team now. but I wasn't like as aggressive with her because I don't know, like before I met her at our first team meeting, I could not pick her out of a lineup if you paid me, like unless I looked at her Facebook page, like
Right.
I did not, so like I wasn't as aggressive with her because I didn't know her. So it just depends on like how well I know the person. And again, I really just sort of focus on like paying them a compliment and following up that way. So being like, hey, hon, I know you'd be amazing at this. Like, what's holding you back?
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And I think that the more relationship you have with them, the easier it is to make those like really cut and dry sort of comments. I had a girl that I started working on like 2 months after I joined, and she was like, well, I'm waiting for this to happen. I'm waiting for this to happen before I join. And then all of a sudden I see her posting about Rodin and Fields, and I'm like, what's going on? And now she's joined a jewelry company, but I'm still staying on her because she's not getting upline support. Like there's all these things that are going to crumble her business eventually. And so I'm just waiting for that time to pounce in, but I stay in touch with her because you never know. Like I'm not writing her off because she joined 2 other companies. I think she can be great on my team, and she will be great when she joins in like 2 years.
Yeah.
So
I had one of my potentials join Stella and Dot recently, and I texted my sister. I'm like, she'll be back.
Yeah, right? Well, that's so frustrating. You're like, I can buy that jewelry from like 2 other companies and Macy's and JCPenney and Walmart.
And for a lot cheaper too. Stella and Dot's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap. So one of my other questions, and I think it's something that everybody struggles with, and I know it's not going to be a cut and dry answer, but like, do you have like an average, how long does it take you to get someone to sign? Like 3 months, a month? I know it's not a cut and dry answer, but I feel like people get in this mindset when they see like you and your sister and other people constantly adding people on Raps to Riches, and we're like, how are they getting all these DTs? Are they growing them in their backyard, or like pulling them over the border illegally? Like, what's going on? How are they getting all these people? And like, why can't I do that? And one thing that I shared, I think I shared this with you, Jessie, today. Someone told me a long time ago, if you're more confident about the products, you'll get more LCs. If you're more confident about the business, you'll get more distributors. And I think that's like spot on, but yet sometimes it's still slow. So what do you think?
So I just want to comment on that because it's so funny that you say that, because we actually had that conversation at our last team meeting. And I told my team, I love the products. Obviously, I would not be selling them if I didn't. I very strongly believe in them. But my passion is with the opportunity. Like, that's what I always lead with. I pretty much never, when I'm cold messaging, lead with product, because I just so strongly believe that 95% of the world needs this opportunity. Like, I just think there's not many people who don't. Like, even people who make good money. Like, I mean, my job, I make good money, but I will work if I stay doing what I'm doing, I will work my job until I'm 55 or 60. It's pretty typical in my industry to retire after when you're about 55. But I'll work until then. And meanwhile, my kids will have grown and I will have missed things. And so like, I'm such a strong believer in the opportunity that's what I always lead with, because I think, like I said, everybody could use this. And actually, that potential that is pregnant, she makes a crap ton of money, but she can't like just drop everything when her son needs something. She works. She's got responsibilities. Yeah. So like, this job is just different because you can work from home and you don't have a boss. I mean, like I said I did a video that I posted to Facebook a few days ago. And I mean, I love my day job. Like I feel very lucky that I do love my day job as much as I do. I work for one of the best men in the world. Like, I swear to God, I love this guy. He is like a second father to me, but he could leave tomorrow and there's nothing I can do about it. Like, I have no control over it. I don't know who I would report to then. Like, it works. You have control over your own business. And so it's just a different ability, and it's exciting, I think. And I think a lot of people could use it. So in terms of the volume of distributors that we recruit, I really think it comes down to the volume of people that we talk to. Like I tell my distributors that the people that talk to the most people win. Like it comes down to that. It's at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. If you talk to 100 people, you might get 5 people to respond to you, and you might get 2 people to sign up. Like, or you might get 10 people to respond to you and 2 people to sign up. Like,
yeah,
you have to be talking to a ton of people and using preferably a couple of different mediums to do that. Like, I don't just use Facebook anymore. I'm growing my Instagram. It's a slow process. I'm not super.
It's painful.
I don't love Instagram. It is painful. I don't love Instagram, but at the same time, there's millions of people on Instagram that I will never reach through my Facebook friends list. You're limited to like 5,000 Facebook friends. There are no such limits on Instagram. You can have 40,000 followers on Instagram. So like, it's just a much bigger market. And so I think you have to almost be working it at this point. I wish I had started it sooner.
Yeah.
So I think you got to be doing like at least 2 out of the 4 things. For me, the 4 things are parties, Instagram, Facebook, and blitzing. So I think in order to be successful, I think you got to be doing at least 2 of the 3.
Yeah,
or 2
I
of the 4.
agree. So I know your family, so I know you're all very outgoing and social and friendly. What advice do you have to the people that aren't that? Like I'm good in small groups, but I'm not like, and I'm good in big groups of people that I don't know, but like the middle side thing, I'm not so good at. Like I'm a very green. I mean, I'm green. You're reddish. What advice do you give to shy distributors?
Kind of
Get out of your comfort zone. Like that's
red and blue. What?
Get out of your comfort zone. That's the go-to line.
Honestly, I mean, like my mom is outgoing with people that she knows, but she's pretty, like she used to be very shy. Like she would never, it was so funny because like we would go to a restaurant and my dad would know everybody's name by the end of the meal. Like he would know the servers, he would know the bus boys. I mean, like it's just ridiculous. Like the man makes friends everywhere he goes. My mom was never like that. Like she was always pretty shy. Wasn't really like outgoing with people that she didn't know, and now she out blitzes my sister and I like 10-1. Like we will be out to dinner and she will beat my sister and I to blitzing. Like I said, 9 out of 10 times she will beat us because she just got over it. So like she knew that her warm market was going to be tough for her because she's my mom, so she's in her 50s. And so a lot of her friends don't want to start anything new. They don't want to, start a new job and stuff. So she knew that she needed to do something different probably than what my sister and I were doing. And so she started blitzing and, she didn't like it to begin with. And, there were a lot of times where we talked and she's like, I'm just not comfortable. But she just continued to do it until she got comfortable. I think if you have the passion and the belief that you absolutely should be reaching out to as many people as you can, because otherwise they could be ticked off at you in a couple of years because you didn't offer them the opportunity, that makes the conversation easier.
Right. I agree. And it's hard sometimes to get over that fear of, like, it's not even fear of rejection half the time. I just think it's like fear of not knowing what's going to happen.
Right. I think also everybody in this business should read Go for No.
Yes.
If you've not read Go for No, it is such a good book. It's a really quick read. Like, I mean, I think I read it in one sitting. And it just teaches you to think of getting that no on a different level or on a different basis than you typically. I mean, normally when you get a no, you're like, oh, they said no, and it bums you out and everything. But this book teaches you that getting a no just means you're that much closer to your next yes. And so that's sort of how I look at it. And again, I don't take no for an answer, so I just say, okay, well, they're a no for right now, but that'll change.
Yeah. And I love in that book too how he says most people write their goals as like, I'm going to sign 3 DTs and 4 LCs this month. And then when you hit your 3 DTs in the middle of the month, if you hit your 3 DTs in the middle of the month, you stop working on DTs for that month because you reached your goal. And he's like, no, you should shoot for 100 no's, because along the way of those 100 no's, you're going to get a bunch of yeses. And once you get to your 100 no's, you're more likely to keep going because it's just a no than if you set your goal in a positive way. So it's backwards thinking in my head, but I think it's a good idea.
And I think that helps you really build your prospect list too.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, then then maybe you've got some people who are like, oh, it's really not a good time, or I don't have the money right now, or whatever the response is, and you add them to your prospect list then.
Right.
And don't
versus just being like, oh yeah, I've done 3 distributors, I don't need any more.
Right. Jacob, did you have a question? Because we're like at 5 minutes left.
Oh, I just said, don't tell them to grow up.
Yeah, that's probably not a good line.
But my question is I was going to throw a party.
Okay.
Gosh, it was going to be on the 28th. And, I still have it up, but I barely have anyone signed up to go. Like, I reached out to, I think, 12, was it 12 people? Yeah, about 12 people that I've reached out to, and it's like hit and miss with the parties.
It is. Sometimes parties are pretty challenging. I'm actually scheduled. I have a good party person in line for one of the team meetings in June, early June. So I'm hopeful that she'll give us some tips. But yeah, parties are tough. If you get people there, then they turn out really well. But it's just getting them there. Do you do a lot of parties, Krista?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I launched my distributors, but I don't do a lot of. I actually only have done past my launch party. I've done one personal party, that a friend has thrown for me. Otherwise, I just focused on launching my distributors and doing their parties. But I just don't. They're a great idea. I just don't have time. I work full time, so when I get home at 5:30, I want to be with my babies. I don't want to leave again.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one way
you could talk about Ashley Kelly Olive and be like, Krista, just buck up and just do it, because then you can go ambassador in 13 months or whatever ridiculous amount she went ambassador with. But I kind of go back and forth on that, because my kids are only going to be the age they are right now. So I don't want to miss the next 13 months of Ari's life or Luca's life or Dominic's life, because, it's just so. I don't know. Maybe I don't grow as quickly as one of those, but I just don't want to be away, nights and weekends too much.
Yeah, and I think growing slowly has a lot of advantages. You're building a steady team. You're not just signing up person after person after person and not training or not having relationships. That stuff is important too, to maintaining a solid team. So,
and I've got pickier too with who I'll actively recruit. I think when I first started, it was whatever. Everybody come join me, and now it's I'll look at somebody's Facebook page before reaching out to them, and if they're negative or they're swearing or they just don't seem like they'd be a good fit for the business, then I don't reach out to them.
Yeah, I promoted super slowly certainly compared to Krista, but just compared to the average. I didn't get to exec till 11 months, but I had 9 DTs under me.
Oh.
But they were people who were I think they joined my team because they wanted me off their back. Some of them. Honestly, it just, that's just how it all was. So I learned my lesson. Never do I want to promote ever that slowly again. So yeah, I'm getting more selective, and I do what you said. I'm looking at their Facebook profile. If I have to twist their arm too much, I just put them back on my back burner and let them watch my stuff again for a little while before I keep pushing it. Because I don't want a negative Nelly. I don't, no one does. They're not fun.
No, I just say, and there's so much work then. I've got a couple of distributors that aren't necessarily my personally enrolled, but they are so much work, and just time sucks. And I just don't have the ability to work with a lot of those. So.
Right. Does anybody else, we have a minute and a half. Anybody else have questions for Krista? She's incredible, so just pick her brain.
Angela, you are too kind.
Jennifer's taking them to see
Anyone
That sounds-
else?
but it's already making Dan nervous.
No. Well, thank you so much, Krista. I'm so happy to have you on here. If you want a copy of the recording, I'll have it because I'm recording. Because I think you've been amazing, but I'm sure your team's already heard all your information. So
I feel like I say it until I'm blue in the face.
I know. Yeah, that happens. Well, thanks so much. Next week, Wednesday, guys, we have Nick and Maggie talking about blitzing. And Nick, just as a little preview, is phenomenal. He could get a maple tree from his backyard to join his team. The man knows his stuff. So
yes, he does. He's good.
everybody have a lovely night.
Bye, guys. Nice